Hello and welcome to a very special How I Painting. In today's video, I show you how I paint British paratrooper. In this video, I take you through the step-by-step painting that iconic World War II infantryman, focusing on the tricky Denison smoke camouflage. So, let's get started. First thing first, we start with the trousers. For this, I'm using English uniform. Make sure to thin your paint with a bit of water to keep a detail sharp. We apply this eventually all over the paint, creating a solid base coat. Don't worry if you accidentally get some paint on the jacket or boots, we'll cover that up in the next steps. Moving on to the jacket, or Denison smoke, as it is historically called. For the base coat, I'm using khaki. I'm applying it carefully to the entire upper body, making sure to get into the all grays and the folds of the fabric. It takes one thin coat to get a nice solid coverage, but it's worth because it will be the foundation for our camouflage pattern later on. As I flip a model around to get back into the underarms, you can really see how this color sets and the tone for the wall miniature. When you painting miniature for bot action, you'll be doing this for wall squad. So finding a khaki that flow nicely out for a bottle is a lifesaver. Just make sure not to pull the paint into the deeper recesses, keep it smoothly and cover all the last few spots of the primer. Now for the exciting part, starting the camouflage pattern. For the green shapes, I'm using firm green. The key with the Denison smoke is to make patches look like a dry stroke. Just like on a real uniform, I'm painting it randomly, angled straight across the khaki base. Don't worry about making them perfect or symmetrical. The more irregular they look, the more authentic the camouflage will feel on the tabletop. As I move around the model with the firm green, I'm trying to cover about one thin layer of khaki surface. It's important to vary the size of the green spots. Some should be large patches, while others are smaller lines or dots. Also make sure to wrap some of the green shapes around the edges of the sleeves and the back. With the green shapes done, it's time to add the final layer of the camouflage. Using saddle brown, I'm applying this brown right next to the green shapes and it's some place, letting them slightly overlap. This created iconic multi-tone look of the British Airborne uniform. Again, keep your stroke loose to sharp, making sure we still leave plenty of that original khaki base show through. The trick with the saddle brown is balance. You don't want the brown to completely overpower the green or the khaki. I like to focus on the brown area of the smoke, like your shoulders back, where the camo pattern would actually be most visible. If you accidentally make a brown patch too big, don't panic. You can always go back later with a bit of khaki to fix the shapes. Now for the main camouflage pattern is to look into the time to add some definition with the highlights. For brown pages, I'm mixing sad brown with a touch of sky grey. To lighten up the brown with making it look curly and dismal, I'm applying it makes stick to the upper edge of the folds and the creases where the lights would naturally hit. This really makes the detail pop, especially at the 28mm bolt action scale. Next up, we need to do exactly the same thing for green section. I'm mixing firm green with a little bit of a sky gray to create our highlights tone. Just like before, I'm focusing only on the races area and the top of the edges of the green camo shapes. This subtle step tie the whole uniform together and give us a fabric realistic texture appearance. Take a steady hand, but it was bring the miniature to life. To finish off the uniform jacket, we need to highlight the main uniform. For this, I'm using German BG World War II. I'm applying this very selection, just pick out the absolutely highest edges of the cloth, that color and the sharp edges around the pocket. This final highlight creates a sharp contrast against our camouflage shapes. And really, definitely, the shapes of the miniature make it stand out perfectly on the gaming table. I'm also use this color on the pouches. Moving on to the rucksack. To speed up the process, I'm using speed paint called algae green. I'm applying it different of the highlight base. The great thing about speed paint is how they do the two jobs. The green will actually flow into the recesses to create the deepest shadows while leaving a lighter tone on the races details of the canvas. I'm also use algae green on the gaiters or ankles. Next up, we painting the water bottle using flat brown. British canvas has this brick felt cover, so it's rich made. Brown is perfect for capturing that look. I'm carefully filling it, making sure to avoid the algae green we just put on the backpack. This adds another layer of contrast to the edgement on his back. Now it's time to bring out paratrooper to life by painting the skin. For face and hands I'm using barbarian flesh. When you work on the face, make sure your paint is smooth so you don't clog the facial feature like the E or mouth. I'm careful to cover nose and cheeks and fingers. Getting a clean base coat here is the key for making the character look sharp from across the table. To highlight the skin and make a facial feature really pop, I'm mixing barbarian flesh and opal skin in 1:1 ratio. This gives us a nice ring tone that isn't too chalky. I'm applying it makes very carefully to the raised area of the face, mainly on the nose and the cheekbone. The brow is the chin. I'm also catching the knuckle and the top of the finger to give the hand some extra definition. With the face is done, we're moving up to the helmet. On the commanding, for this I'm using olive drab. This is classic military green. It's perfect for standard LA helmet look. I'm applying it over the entire helmet, making sure the paint get into the texture detail of the netting. To break up the shapes of the helmet, British paratrooper used to wear a strip of burlap or clothing their netting, known as a scrim. To paint them, I'm using khaki. I carefully picking out the individual strip, racing on the netting, considerably make the helmet pop and give the model that rugged frontline look is so iconic for Airborne. Now for the firepower, we're painting that iconic stand again. For the metal body, I'm using dark grey. Instead of flat black, a dark grey gives us much more realistic, slightly warm look for metal and leave for the highlights later. I'm carefully coating the bar, the recurrence and the magazine, making sure not to get any paint on the hands where we paint so hard early. To add the depth to the face and hands, I'm applying a wash of a strong skin shade. I'm letting it floatly direct into the recesses like A around the nose and between the fingers. To bring out all the details on the uniform, I'm shading the wall model with a dark tone. I'm applying it over all camouflage and the gear to let it settle into the deepest folds and recesses. This instantly pull out all color together and give the miniature a rugged battlefield look. Now that the wash has completely dry and the saddle into the recesses, we can move into the final highlights on the lower half of the miniature. For the trousers, I'm using green-brown. This color is absolutely perfect because it has a specific green khaki undertone that actually match the British uniform cloth. I'm starting by layering this color onto the wider races area of the legs. The goal here isn't to cover up all of the previous shading, but build up a smooth transition from the dark shadows into the folds up to the natural light on the top. And with that, our paratrooper is officially ready for action. I'm really happy with the Denison Camo and the little details on the helmet and the gear turn out. If you enjoyed this painting with and found it helpful for your own bold action project, please hit the like button and subscribe for more hobby content. Bye.